whose presidium is located in the city of Evanston, 3. In the United States of America. It is unfortunate that in the March 31, 1978 issue of the Daily Al-Ahram, we find the news entitled, Rotary Conference under the protection of President Sadat, and that Sadat has appointed Prime Minister Mamdouh Salim to represent him at the opening reception in Iskandaria on April 6, 1978. And in the April 14, 1978 issue of Al-Akbar, we find message sent by the President to the Congress, in which, in conclusion, the Daily wrote as follows: the President hopes that peace can cover the whole world, so that all efforts in all countries of the world are directed towards providing food and peace to the nations, not cannons and armored tanks. The President also praised the principles of Rotary and its idealism based on the fact that each member feels proud of his efforts. This is the principle of Rotary idealism that Egypt calls for Lions Club. Founded in 1951 in New York, it later moved to Washington, D.C., and has branches all over the world. Among its members are kings, heads of state, members of parliament, and people in positions of honor. The organization of the B'nai B'rith Club was founded in 1834, and its assembly in Berlin alone, held in 1903, includes some 80 branches. Its main seat today is in the United States. It is now exclusively for women, and its membership consists of approximately all Jewish women. For the principles of these organizations, see Dr. Mo. Ali Az-Zubi's book Freemasonry Without a Lid, and also see Encyclopedia Britannica, 1974. It is very interesting to note that the late great warrior Muhammad Amin al-Husseini, Mufti of Palestine, from the very beginning remained aware of the dangers posed by the Rotary Club, and had exposed its connection with Freemasonry and international Zionism. This is contained in a letter he sent in 1971 to the late Honorable Sheikh Muhammad Sarur Shaban, the previous Secretary General of Rabita Alam Islami. From the history of Freemasonry. From the history of Freemasonry, complicated and dangerous history, what we know are two men. We believe these two men have had a profound influence on Freemasonry. For it is these two men who have unearthed in the thinking of the movement the streaks of evil that, no matter how thickly covered with shiny cosmetics, cannot be covered. The story of the two men. The two men were Weishaupt and Pike, the former from Europe and the latter from the United States. This story has been told from the beginning. The story of Weishaupt. His name was Adam Weishaupt, and he was born in Germany in 1748. He studied theology and became one of the leaders of Christianity, then apostatized from his religion and made atheism his faith. He became a professor at the University of Ingolstadt, Hubenganya with Judaism. In 1770, the Jews began to contact him to exploit his genius and science. They showed him their decisions concerning the world, and they asked him to draw up plans to be carried out, to which he agreed, and drew up all the plans. Founding of the Great Eastern Assembly. By 1776, he had accomplished what he had asked. He also prepared the first means of carrying it out. He founded an assembly of Freemasonry under the name of the Greater Eastern Assembly, which included a group of men of conscience, meaning the supporters of Light Illuminati. And this assembly became the most powerful supreme authority over all the assemblies in the world. His proclaimed call. Weishaupt called for the establishment of a world government of geniuses, of extraordinary prowess, of thinkers. He declared that this was his purpose in establishing the assembly. A great many thinkers were deceived by his call, perhaps up to 2,000, which included famous people in the fields of literature, science, economics, politics, art, especially university professors, all of whom were covered by his long-standing counsel. But was what Weishaupt announced true? His real purpose. The truth is that this man intended, behind his call, to destroy all governments and all religions. Methods used. To achieve this goal, he has mandated the following teachings to his followers. 1. Using bribery with money, and also using sex and beautiful women with the intention of gaining control of influential and prominent people. so that they can be used by the Illuminati to carry out what he wants to achieve. The professors of Illuminati should pay attention to those students who stand out in terms of their thinking and intelligence, as well as those students from prominent families, and direct them to pay attention to internationalism, and teach them that this is the only way to save humanity from the disaster of war. With the leader of humanity, because the Goyim do not understand what is good for them, both physically and mentally and spiritually. Once the outstanding students have accepted these principles, they will be educated in special schools. There are currently 3 schools that do this work. A. In the town of Gordonstown in Scotland. B. In Salem Township in Germany. C. In the Greek town of Anavrita. When these outstanding students have returned to their respective countries, the group of light or Illuminati will endeavor to elevate them to high and important positions, so that they can carry out the outlined wisdom. 3. Controlling the mass media, such as radio, newspapers, and so on. Weishaupt had prepared a plan to destroy the 2 great nations of the world in the 18th century, namely England and France. The method was to ask the members of the Illuminati to wage imperial wars, to weaken the British Empire, and also to spark a revolution within the French state. Including in this plan is to wage a revolution in 1789. Glossary: Goyim or Joyim are words meaning a group of people, which Jews used to refer to the followers of other religions. Weishaupt also used these words. Weishaupt plan unveiled. This terroristic plan would have had to be kept very secret, but God has ordained that it be revealed and broadcast in full without any flaws. In 1784, Weishaupt sent a letter to the group of light in France containing the complete plan, but suddenly, the person carrying the letter arrived in the city of Ratisbon, dead by lightning, while he was traveling from Frankfurt to Paris. Bavarian security officers found his body and also found the letter. The Bavarian government made a thorough and careful study of the letter and issued orders to occupy the Great Eastern Assembly, confiscate what was in it, and forcibly open the houses of the leaders of the group. The result of this action was that the Bavarian government had obtained a collection of secret documents supporting the matters contained in the letter. In 1786, the Bavarian government had published these documents in a book entitled Original Writings of the System and School of the People of Light, a copy of which it sent to the state and church authorities in most of the European countries, but these did not consider it important, and so the events that had been planned came to pass. Even Queen Maria Antoinette 1755-1793 never paid attention to the letters sent by her sister warning her of the dangers threatening the throne in France, and also threatening the church. The answer she gave to the letter was only as follows: "As for France, I think that your concerns about Freemasonry in this country are exaggerated. Its importance here is far less than its importance elsewhere." Entry of the Illuminati into the assemblies. After the campaign against the Assembly of the Group of Light in Bavaria, Weishaupt issued an order to his followers to enter the Green Freemasonry, on the condition that no other member of Freemasonry should be admitted, unless he had proved in convincing form, both in thought and deed, that he had accepted the principles of Umamiya internationalism and distanced himself from Allah. This has begun with himself, where he has participated in one of the Munich assemblies. In order that members of the Illuminati might smuggle into the assemblies in England, the society had invited John Robinson, professor of natural philosophy at the University of Edinburgh, and general secretary of the Royal Society there, and one of the leading members of Freemasonry in Scotland, to visit several European countries. Robinson had accepted this invitation, and showed such a flexible and tactful manner that the members of the Company of Light felt confident in him. They then handed him the updated plan that Weishaupt had prepared for his study and response. But Robinson, shocked by the horror of this plan, began to warn his people of the dangers of the Group of Light, and urged them to oppose it, but his warnings received no attention from others. Instead, in 1798, he published a book entitled Evidence of a Conspiracy to Destroy All Governments and All Religions. Death of Weishaupt. Weishaupt died in 1830, and he left his followers a meticulous practical plan. To this day, humanity has always suffered as a result of the evil of this plan. Mazzini heads the Group of Light. The 19th century is filled with people who have played an important role in the history of the Group of Light. And the most prominent of these was the Italian leader Giuseppe Mazzini, whom the society had chosen as its director to carry out its plans in the world. He continued to hold this position until his death. We will see his great role if we later discuss the history of the Illuminati in the United States. Giuseppe Mazzini, great revolutionary leader, 1805–1872. Born in Geneva, he traveled in Italy and founded the Italian secret society MUDS. He proclaimed the Italian Republic in Rome in 1949 after a long struggle. It is unfortunate that Mazzini's thinking, especially his understanding of the span of the nation, has found favor among some Arab world thinkers and is taught seriously in law faculties there. Illuminati groups in the United States. Let us now leave Europe, where the Group of Light has successfully established itself and is rejoicing in all its corners. Let us turn our attention to the United States, with a view to describing the activities of the Group of Light there. Jefferson broadcasts Illuminati principles. The Illuminati group has managed to infiltrate so deeply into the American assemblies that it has become a serious phenomenon whose influence is clearly visible. All of this was due to the activities of Thomas Jefferson, who later became President of the United States. Jefferson had been a disciple of Weishaupt, an ardent supporter of his ideas and opinions, and it was he who had promulgated them in the United States. Clues to the danger of the Illuminati. In order to get an idea of the extent of the danger of this group, it is sufficient to look back to the speech of the president of Harvard University, delivered before a university meeting on July 19, 1798, in which he warned the graduating scholars of the dangers of the Group of Light. He also revealed the extent of their influence in political and religious circles. In 1800, the organizer of the assemblies of Freemasonry in the United States, John Quincy Adams, ran for the presidency against Jefferson. During the election campaign, he made the case that Jefferson had exploited the assemblies of Freemasonry for destructive purposes. He explained this in letters to his friend, Colonel William Stone, and they are still preserved today in a Philadelphia city library.